Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Have you ever felt that, well, that universal tug, that kind of yearning for financial security, maybe for a life where you're not constantly, you know, worrying about money?
Oh, absolutely. It's a pretty common feeling, I think.
And then, just as you start exploring, you get hit with all this conflicting advice, right? Save every penny, or invest aggressively, get a stable job. It can really make your head spin.
It really can. And it often feels like the traditional wisdom, the stuff we all kind of grew up with, well, maybe it isn't quite leading us where we want to go financially.
Exactly. It's interesting to think how many of us just follow paths, laid out for us without really questioning if they actually align with what we want, financially speaking.
Yeah, we're often taught what to do, get good grades, get a job, but maybe not why, or if there are, other ways, different ways to think about building wealth.
The foundation of those teachings often just goes unexamined.
Right.
And that is precisely why today we're taking a deep dive into, well, one of the most influential, maybe even controversial, personal finance books out there, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Ah, yes. A book that certainly sparked a lot of conversation.
It's not just another budgeting book, is it? It's more like a fundamental challenge to how many of us think about money, work, and wealth creation.
Definitely. Its central premise is super compelling, comparing these two vastly different financial philosophies that shaped his life.
He sets up this contrast, as you said, through two key figures. There's his poor dad, his biological father, highly educated, successful career-wise, hardworking, but always seemed to be struggling with money.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the rich dad. This was his best friend's father. Not formally educated in the same way, not at all, but incredibly sharp about money, business, and ultimately very wealthy.
And the core point, this is crucial for our deep dive, it isn't really about who was smarter in general or who worked harder or even formal schooling.
No, it's about a fundamental difference in mindset, a totally different approach to handling money. One path often leads to, well, financial struggle, while the other seems to unlock real financial freedom.
The book argues that being smart academically or in your career doesn't automatically mean you're financially smart.
That's a really key point. Success in one area, like getting a PhD or climbing the corporate ladder, doesn't just automatically transfer to financial success. The real difference Kiyosaki points to is the financial education, the principles each dad taught and lived by.
Less about innate ability, more about the financial frameworks they learned.
Exactly. It's about their learned financial intelligence, you could say.
So our mission today, for you listening, is to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge from Kiyosaki's work. We want to give you a kind of shortcut to understanding these contrasting ideas, maybe offer some insights that could, genuinely reframe how you think about your own finances.
The goal is really to help you figure out what's most useful from this source for your own journey towards maybe financial clarity and empowerment.
Okay, let's get started. When I first read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the thing that really grabbed me wasn't just the advice, but Kiyosaki's own story. It felt like he was living this real-time experiment caught between these two totally opposite ways of thinking about money.
Right. It's like he had a front row seat.
Yeah, watching two different financial futures unfold right from childhood. What an amazing setup for a book, don't you think?
Absolutely. And what really stands out is how that dual exposure, especially at such a young age, gave him this living case study.
hmm
Most of us, we grow up with maybe one dominant financial philosophy from our parents, right? He got to constantly compare and contrast them, almost like a personal A/B test running for years.
Yeah, like seeing the long-term results play out in real time.
Exactly,
Look,
which likely made his insights much sharper later on. He saw the cause and effect very clearly.
it's a really powerful narrative structure.
Yeah.
So let's dig into his poor dad versus his biological father. By any normal measure, this guy was successful, right? Respected.
Oh, for sure. Highly educated, Kiyosaki mentions him having a PhD, incredibly hardworking, dedicated his life to his career, important government jobs, a good, honest man by all accounts.
He really represented everything society tells us we should be.
Yeah.
The model citizen, the diligent professional.
Mhm.
Get the education, get the good job.
And his beliefs, his advice, were totally rooted in that traditional idea. Study hard, get good grades, find a secure job, earn a reliable salary.
The standard playbook.
Absolutely. Climb the ladder, focus on job security, get that pension for retirement. The core belief was that formal education plus hard work equals a comfortable, secure life.
Which is preached everywhere, isn't it? Schools, families. It's all about predictability over, well, risk.
Deeply ingrained.
And on the surface, it makes perfect sense. Who doesn't want stability? A good education. But then Kiyosaki hits you with the reality. Despite all that, the intelligence, the education, the hard work his pretty take, poor dad struggled financially. How does he explain that disconnect? Like, what was missing? Why would someone so conventionally successful end up living paycheck to paycheck, facing money troubles, and retiring without much wealth?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And Kiyosaki's argument is that poor dad was academically brilliant, professionally accomplished, but he lacked financial literacy, a different kind of intelligence. The missing piece wasn't IQ or effort. It was understanding how money really works beyond just earning a salary. Poor dad knew how to make money from his job.
But not how to make money work for him.
Precisely. Which highlights that traditional success career education doesn't automatically mean financial freedom or real wealth. He was great at his job, but not so great at managing and growing his own money.
Okay, now let's flip to Rich Dad, his best friend's father. Totally different profile. No PhD, no prestigious degrees.
Right, none of the formal credentials poor dad had.
But what he did have was this, like, exceptional business sense, a really practical, deep understanding of how money works in the real world. A self-made entrepreneur who built a serious fortune. It's quite the contrast.
It is, and it's critical to the book's message. Rich Dad's core philosophy was almost the complete opposite of Poor Dad's. He believed in building assets, things that generate income. He believed in entrepreneurship.
And crucially,
making money work for him instead of him working for money. His focus was all on practical financial education, understanding markets, spotting opportunities, not academic credentials or job security.
so he saw the world differently, like through a lens of opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. Opportunities to create value, to build income streams, always asking, how can I build something that makes money even when I'm not physically there?
And the results. I mean, the financial outcomes really tell the story.
They really do. Unlike Poor Dad, Rich Dad achieved significant wealth and maybe even more importantly, real financial freedom. He wasn't chained to a paycheck.
Right, not dependent on an employer.
His wealth came from businesses, investment systems he created that generated income separate from his own direct labor. It's like he built a money-making machine rather than being the machine himself.
So zooming out, the book basically presents these two very distinct paths, right?
Exactly. Path 1, trade your time for money within the system. Focus on security, steady income. Path 2, build systems that generate money for you. Focus on freedom, control, building long-term wealth.
And it makes you think, which path resonates more with you?
Yeah.
Listening right now, do you see echoes of either Dad and the advice you've gotten or the choices you've made?
Yeah, that fundamental choice, that fork in the road, it really underpins Kiyosaki's entire philosophy.
Okay, this next point. This is one that really, I have to admit, challenged my own thinking when I first encountered it. Kiyosaki isn't just suggesting, like, a small tweak. He's pushing for a major shift away from only working for others towards building something for yourself.
It does sound almost revolutionary, doesn't it?
Yeah. The very first big lesson in the book directly attacks this deeply ingrained belief that we have to work for money. I mean, when you first hear the rich don't work for money, it sounds weird, counterintuitive. How else do you get money?
Right. We're taught from day one. School, good job, work for that paycheck. It's the default setting for most of us.
It's a paradigm that's so fundamental, questioning it feels almost wrong, like you're breaking some unwritten rule. We just internalize that our time and skills get traded for a salary, and that salary pays the bills.
And that's the core of what Kiyosaki describes through his Poor Dad's view. It's the secure path, the one everyone understands and follows.
Exactly. Poor Dad's world revolved around the salary, the main goal. Earn that steady paycheck,
Yeah.
have that reliable income, you put in the hours, do the work, get the money. A direct trade.
Time and effort for cash. And for so many people, that's the only model they've ever really considered viable. It's how financial success is often measured. How big is your paycheck?
But Kiyosaki calls this the rat race?
The rat race, yeah. He paints this picture of a relentless treadmill. You're constantly dependent on your job, running just to stay in place. And his key insight is that just earning more money doesn't solve the problem if you're still just trading your time for it, and if your spending keeps pace.
Wow, lifestyle inflation.
Exactly. Income goes up, expenses magically rise to meet it, bigger house, nicer car, more stuff. It keeps people stuck on that treadmill, running faster maybe, but not really getting ahead, always needing that next paycheck.
It's like an illusion of progress.
Without any real financial freedom being built, yeah.
That feeling of being trapped, even if you earn a lot, that sounds very real. It's constant pressure. But isn't there, like, a basic human need for stability? Doesn't the rat race, even if it sounds bleak, offer some kind of security, some comfort zone?
That's a really fair point. The comfort zone is powerful. And Kiyosaki doesn't totally dismiss stability, but he sort of redefines where true stability comes from.
Okay, how so?
He argues that the security of a job is often just an illusion. Jobs disappear, companies downsize, industries change. True stability, in his view, comes from financial independence, not depending on one employer.
Which brings us to Rich Dad's way of thinking.
Right. Rich Dad's paradigm flips the whole work for money idea completely on its head.
His philosophy isn't work for money, but work to build or acquire assets, things that generate income for you.
It's subtle but massive. A huge shift in perspective. You're not just trading your time directly for cash anymore. You're using your time, maybe some initial money, to build something, an asset that then produces cash for you, ideally on its own.
Like planting a tree versus just picking fruit from someone else's tree all the time.
That's a great analogy. It illustrates a totally different relationship with money, instead of money being the reward you get for your hard work.
It becomes a tool, or like an employee.
Exactly. An employee that works for you, generating more wealth, ideally without your constant direct effort. Imagine your money going out and earning more money for you while you're sleeping, or working on something else, or, on vacation.
That frees up your time, your energy.
Completely. It lets you pursue other things, learn new skills, or just live life without that constant pressure of needing the next paycheck to survive. It's shifting from an active income focus to building passive income streams. That's fundamental to his whole message.
Wow. The implications are huge then. You move from being dependent on your boss, on your own hours, to being in control, having leverage.
You're not just a cog anymore. You're potentially the architect of your own financial world.
Your financial well-being isn't tied to just one job. It's spread across potentially multiple income-generating assets. That sounds like real security.
Much more resilient, arguably. It's the ultimate form of self-sufficiency he promotes.
So this brings up a big question for you listening right now. Are you mostly working for money? Or is your money actively working for you, even a little bit?
Yeah, how does this idea challenge your current view of earning a living? What do you think is possible for your financial future after hearing this?
Just reflecting on that, that could be a powerful first step towards rethinking your whole financial strategy, moving from just being an earner to maybe becoming a wealth creator.
Moving on from how we work, Kiyosaki hits another crucial point. It's not just about how much you make, it's about how much you keep.
Right. That distinction feels so important. We often chase the higher salary, the bigger income.
Society celebrates high earners, right?
Yeah.
Big paycheck equals success.
Yeah, but Kiyosaki argues that a big income doesn't automatically mean you're wealthy, if all that money just flows right back out again.
You're not building anything lasting. No foundation for freedom.
So financial literacy, in his view, starts with understanding this core difference between an asset and a liability, and how they affect your cash flow.
It's the absolute bedrock. All other financial decisions kind of rest on this understanding.
And Rich Dad's definitions are just brilliantly simple. An asset is
Something that puts money in your pocket. Pure and simple. No fancy accounting terms. Just, does it generate cash for you?
It's all about the direction of the money flow.
Exactly. Let's maybe flesh out some of the examples from the book to make it really clear. A classic asset is rental property.
Okay, yeah. You buy a house, rent it out, the tenant pays rent.
And that rent money goes into your pocket. Ideally, it covers the mortgage, taxes, insurance, repairs, and leaves you with a profit each month. It's a physical thing, but it's actively generating income for you.
Kiyosaki would probably say it's like owning a mini business, right?
Precisely. A well-managed rental property is a cash flow machine.
Okay, what about stocks?
Stocks, too. When you own shares, especially in companies that pay dividends,
You get a piece of the profits.
right, those dividend payments land in your account, you're literally getting paid just for owning a small piece of that business. Plus, the value of the stock itself might go up over time. That's capital appreciation.
So it's like being a silent partner, getting a cut without running the day-to-day.
Exactly. And then, of course, owning businesses themselves.
Your own business.
Your own thriving business. Whether you run it actively or you've built systems so it runs more or less on its own, it generates profit, recurring income. That's a powerful asset.
Like a laundromat, maybe, or a franchise, or even an online business these days.
All potential examples. Once they're set up and running well, They can put significant money in your pocket, often way more than a salary could. The key thing in all these examples is that active income generation. That's what makes something an asset in this framework, not just owning it.
Okay, so that covers things that put money in your pocket. But then there's the other side, the stuff that often quietly drains our bank accounts, liabilities.
Mm-hmm. And Rich Dad's definition is just as blunt. Something that takes money out of your pocket.
Again, brutally simple. Money flowing out.
And this is where it gets tricky for a lot of people because things we often think are assets can actually function as liabilities according to this definition.
Like the big one, your own house.
Kiyosaki famously challenges that. Your personal residence, the house you live in, yes, it's valuable, it might appreciate. But if it's not generating rent income,
Then the mortgage payments, the
Yeah.
property taxes, insurance, upkeep.
all take money out of your pocket every single month. So from a pure cash flow perspective, he labels it a liability.
Controversial, but makes sense within his definition. What else?
Car loans are a definite liability. You're making payments. The car is losing value the second you drive it off the lot.
Plus insurance, gas, repairs.
All money flowing out. And, of course, credit card debt. High interest payments, actively draining your finances, often for stuff you bought ages ago that's long gone or worthless.
Ouch, yeah. And what about those luxury items bought on credit? I remember buying my first really nice car, felt amazing.
Sure, big sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, but then the loan payment hit, the higher insurance, the premium gas. Suddenly it felt less like an asset and more like a very expensive money pit.
That's exactly Kiyosaki's point. That expensive car, designer clothes, the latest gadgets, especially if financed, they're taking money out through payments, interest, maintenance, and they're usually depreciating fast. They feel like assets because you own them.
But financially, they're draining you.
Because they extract money, they don't generate it. The emotional buzz of owning them often blinds us to the financial reality.
So stepping back, it's about seeing the bigger picture, like your personal balance sheet.
Exactly. Not just your income statement, how much you earn, but what you own versus what you owe, and crucially, how those things make money flow in or out each month.
So for you listening, it means maybe consciously looking at things in your life. Is this car an asset or liability? Is this investment actually putting money in my pocket, or is it just sitting there? Or even costing me money?
That mental sorting exercise is fundamental to his idea of building wealth and getting out of that rat race.
Okay, here's where things get, I think, really interesting and maybe challenging for some people to wrap their heads around. The book strongly pushes for this big shift, away from just working for someone else towards actively building something for yourself.
Minding your own business, as he puts it.
Right. Moving beyond the paycheck as your only financial focus and starting to, plant your own garden, financially speaking.
Yeah, and this point is often misunderstood. It doesn't necessarily mean quit your job tomorrow, become an entrepreneur. Kiyosaki himself kept jobs while building his own stuff.
Okay, so it's not necessarily about quitting the 9 to 5 right away.
Not necessarily. It's more about where your primary financial focus and your efforts are directed, even if you still have that day job. It's about creating a parallel track for yourself.
Makes sense, because Poor Dad's focus was almost entirely on the job, right?
Yeah,
Working diligently for the employer.
totally. Climb the ladder, get promoted, increase the salary within that existing system. His business, essentially, was his job.
And his financial security was completely tied to that job, that organization.
There was little or no energy left or focus given to building anything outside of that structure.
Whereas Rich Dad advocated for, as you said, minding your own business.
Yeah.
Developing and owning income-generating assets.
Regardless of whether you also have a traditional job, the emphasis is on building something you control, something that will eventually lead to financial independence. Shifting from being just an employee in someone else's business.
To being an owner of your own assets or business.
Exactly. It requires cultivating more of an entrepreneurial mindset.
Which means taking personal responsibility for your financial future, actively creating your own income streams.
Yes. Instead of just relying on a salary that could be cut or a job that might disappear, it's a proactive approach. You're not just a receiver of income, you become a creator of it.
Realizing that maybe the best security comes from your own ability to generate wealth, not just from your employer being nice.
And another key aspect of minding your own business is building equity and assets that you control.
Okay, what do you mean by equity here?
Well, when you work for a company, you're building their business, their equity, their value. Your retirement account might grow, but you don't directly control the underlying company or assets in the same way.
Right.
But when you own rental properties or stocks or your own operating business, you're building tangible equity, value that's directly under your control. You have input, you influence its performance.
Ah, I see. You own a piece of the action directly.
You own the action, and this naturally leads to a huge benefit: diversification.
Multiple income streams.
Exactly. Owning different income-generating assets creates several streams of revenue. That acts as a buffer. If your job disappears or the economy dips or your industry changes,
You're not totally wiped out.
hopefully not,
Yeah.
other income streams can support you. It offers much more real financial stability and freedom than relying on just one salary, no matter how big it is. It's a stronger financial safety net.
So for you listening, the practical takeaway isn't necessarily go quit your job.
Not at all. It's more about starting to think. What income-generating assets could I begin to acquire or build, maybe on the side?
Could be small things.
Absolutely. Maybe it's starting a small, consistent investment in a broad stock market index fund. Maybe it's brainstorming a side business using skills you already have. Maybe exploring a small rental property down the line.
It's about that mindset shift, right? From being just a consumer of income.
To actively being a producer of wealth. Taking those first steps, however small they seem, to start cultivating your own financial garden.
What's really fascinating here, too, is how the book talks about money itself, not just as, the reward you get for working.
Right, not just something to be earned and then spent or maybe saved.
Yeah, but as a powerful tool.
Yeah.
Something that can actively work for you. It transforms money from just, like, static cash into an active agent, a resource that can multiply itself.
It directly challenges that scarcity mindset that often comes with just working for money. If you only see money as this finite thing you trade your limited time for, you're always kind of fighting to keep it from running out.
Makes sense.
Rich Dad's philosophy shifts that. It's more of an abundance mindset where money, if you use it intelligently, can actually create more money.
Like seeing a dollar not just as something to spend, but as a potential seed.
Exactly. A seed you can plant to grow more dollars.
And a big part of Rich Dad's investment philosophy is that idea. Invest early and wisely.
Which really highlights the incredible power of compounding.
Where your investment earnings start earning their own returns.
Creating this snowball effect, this exponential growth over time. Time really is your biggest ally when it comes to investing.
So the earlier you start, even with small amounts,
the less initial money you might need to reach your goals down the road, because compounding does so much of the heavy lifting for you. It's why starting, even small, is so critical.
This idea of leveraging capital is key then.
Absolutely central. Instead of letting money just sit in a savings account earning next to nothing, or just spending it immediately,
You actively put it to work.
you use your existing money to buy assets, stocks, bonds, real estate, businesses that in turn generate more money for you, whether that's through rent, profits, dividends, interest, or the asset growing in value.
Turning your capital into like a productive engine.
Instead of just a static pile, understanding that every dollar you save is potentially a little worker you can send out to build your future wealth.
And this really drives home that contrast with just working for money. You're moving away from relying solely on active income, the money you earn directly from your labor,
Which is limited by your time and energy.
towards building passive income money your investments generate for you.
It's a shift from a limited potential, capped by how many hours you can physically work, to a potentially unlimited potential driven by smart capital deployment.
That resonates. Rich Dad really champions passive income as the path to real freedom, doesn't he?
He really does. Active income will always be limited by you. Passive income, coming from well-chosen assets, can grow far beyond your personal limits. It frees up your time, your effort.
So you can scale your wealth without just working more and more hours.
Imagine that feeling, waking up and knowing your assets made money while you slept. It's not just about the dollars. It's about that feeling of control, of independence.
And this loops right back to financial literacy, doesn't it? Wise investing isn't just luck or gambling.
Not at all. It's not about chasing hot tips or blindly following the crowd. It requires understanding what you're investing in, why it's a good fit for your goals, how it fits your risk tolerance.
It takes research, critical thinking, having a strategy.
Definitely. It's an ongoing learning process, not a one-time decision.
So for you, listening, maybe the takeaway here is to see investing not as some mysterious thing only experts do.
But as a skill you can learn, practice, and apply yourself.
It's about consciously deciding to put your capital to work for you, understanding the basics, and getting involved in that process.
Even if you start small, learn as you go, and consistently apply those principles of making your money work for you, not just you working for it.
Okay, let's talk about something really human here. Fear. Especially fear around money. It's huge, right?
Oh, absolutely. Fear is probably one of the biggest drivers or paralyzers of financial decisions. The thought of losing money, of taking a risk and having it go wrong, it can stop people in their tracks.
Is that natural instinct to protect what you have, to seek safety.
And that instinct is perfectly shown in Poor Dad's approach. His whole financial world seemed built around prioritizing safety, avoiding risk at almost any cost.
Yeah, he was the picture of risk aversion. His advice was always, don't take chances, play it safe. Get that secure government job.
It sounds prudent, doesn't it? Protect your family, avoid uncertainty. It embodies that traditional idea that security is the most important financial goal.
But Kiyosaki argues that this extreme caution, while seeming wise on the surface,
Often leads to missed opportunities, big ones. By always choosing the absolute safest path, Poor Dad implicitly opted out of anything that had risk, even if it also had the potential for huge rewards.
So the paradox is, by trying to avoid all risk, you might actually guarantee a sort of financial mediocrity.
That's Kiyosaki's argument. True wealth creation often happens just outside that comfort zone of absolute certainty, where people are willing to take calculated risks.
Which brings us to Rich Dad's very different approach. He wasn't saying be reckless, right? No crazy gambling.
Not at all. He advocated for calculated risk-taking. And maybe even more importantly, he had this philosophy about learning from failures.
Ah, yes. Failures aren't the end of the world.
They're essential learning opportunities. That reframing is incredibly powerful. It takes the fear and shame out of making mistakes and turns them into, essentially, tuition payments for your financial education.
Seeing a setback not as a final loss, but as data, as a lesson learned.
Exactly. And he emphasized taking smart risks. That implies doing your homework first, having that foundation of financial literacy, researching the opportunity, understanding the potential downsides before you jump in.
So it's not blind faith. It's informed decision-making, testing ideas,
Mm.
having a plan B.
Right. And if something doesn't pan out, you don't just give up. You analyze why. What went wrong? What did I miss? You learn from it, adjust your strategy, and apply those lessons next time.
It's like a continuous improvement cycle for your finances.
A cycle of learning and refinement. Every experience, good or bad, adds to your financial intelligence, making you smarter for the future.
This ties right into having a broader growth mindset, doesn't it? Seeing challenges not as threats, but as chances to develop.
Absolutely. It fosters resilience, adaptability. It gives you the courage to step outside your comfort zone, knowing that even if you stumble, you'll gain valuable experience. You'll be stronger and smarter next time.
It's the difference between being frozen by fear and being maybe energized by the possibility of growth, even with the risk involved.
So for you listening, it raises a really interesting question. Where in your life, maybe financially, maybe career-wise, are you avoiding risks that could potentially lead to significant growth?
And how could you start to reframe potential failures or setbacks, not as something terrifying to be avoided at all costs?
But as learning experiences, as opportunities to get smarter, that shift in perspective, moving from fear of loss to a focus on learning, could unlock huge potential in your financial life and, honestly, probably beyond.
You know, looking at the bigger picture here, it feels like another key lesson isn't just about what job you do, but what you learn from the jobs you do.
Yes. This idea transcends just the immediate paycheck. It emphasizes the long-term value of acquiring skills, building your own personal intellectual toolkit, you could say.
It reframes every job, potentially, as a learning opportunity, not just a way to pay the bills.
Exactly. So many people evaluate jobs primarily based on salary. How much does it pay? That's often question number one.
Sure, it's important.
It is important. But Rich Dad encouraged asking a different, maybe more fundamental question alongside it. What valuable skills will I learn here?
Shifting the focus from just short-term cash to long-term. Human capital, is that the term?
Human capital development, yeah.
Okay.
Investing in yourself. Because Poor Dad's focus, understandably, was so heavily on job security. Find a stable position, stay there, climb the ladder slowly, get the pension.
Which often leads to becoming highly specialized in one narrow area.
Right. You become an expert in that specific role within that specific company, and that's valuable there, but maybe less transferable if that job goes away or you want to do something else.
Whereas Rich Dad pushed for acquiring a diverse set of skills, skills valuable across different situations.
Yes. Skills that are broadly valuable and transferable, no matter the industry or your specific job title at the moment. This builds your personal human capital, your own portfolio of abilities, making you much more adaptable, more resilient in a constantly changing economy.
It's about making yourself valuable, not just your current job description.
Yeah.
Valuable to the market as a whole.
Exactly. And the book specifically highlights some skills that are incredibly potent for anyone looking to build wealth outside of just a salary, like sales.
Which isn't just about, like, selling used cars.
No, not at
Yeah.
all. It's the ability to persuade, to negotiate effectively, to really understand people's needs, and to communicate value clearly. These are fundamental whether you're selling a product, pitching an idea, raising capital, or even just interviewing for a new role.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Well, investing itself. Not just theory, but the practical, hands-on knowledge of how to actually make capital grow. Understanding markets, evaluating deals, managing risk.
And leadership.
Crucial. The ability to guide people, make strategic calls, inspire a team, solve complex problems. Invaluable if you want to build and scale anything significant, allows you to leverage more than just your own efforts.
And underpinning all of that seems to be communication.
Absolutely foundational. Clearly conveying your ideas, articulating a vision, building strong relationships through effective communication. These aren't just soft skills.
They're hard assets in the real world.
Critical assets. They help you connect, manage, negotiate, build networks, all vital for creating wealth beyond just trading your time for a paycheck. Mastering how to interact productively with others.
So seeing these skills themselves as assets is the key.
Yes. They increase your personal value, your adaptability. Someone with a broad base of valuable skills is just much more capable of creating opportunities and navigating change than someone narrowly specialized and dependent on one employer.
So the work to learn philosophy means you're always investing in yourself. Every experience adds to your toolkit.
Exactly. You view every job, every project, maybe even every difficult situation, not just based on the immediate payout, but as a chance to learn something valuable, something transferable.
Skills that can then contribute to building your own assets later on, giving you more options, more control.
It's a continuous, proactive investment in your single most important asset.
Okay, so let's try and pull all these different threads together now. When we look back at the core philosophies of the two dads, we really see these two incredibly distinct paths laid out.
Yeah, it's a stark contrast.
Poor Dad's path. It was all about the job, the degree, chasing stability, work hard for that secure paycheck. But his life, even though he was smart and dedicated, often felt tied to that paycheck, right? That cycle of earn, spend, repeat.
The rat race, essentially. Whereas Rich Dad's path emphasized something different. Money management, actively building assets, thinking like an entrepreneur,
His focus was on creating systems where money worked for him.
which ultimately led him to significant wealth and, crucially, real financial freedom. He wasn't burdened by needing a traditional job to survive or thrive. He designed a life where money flowed to him from his assets.
So the main idea, the absolute linchpin takeaway from Rich Dad, Poor Dad seems to be the critical, paramount importance of financial education.
Absolutely, and not just education in the sense of learning facts or how to use accounting software.
Right, it's deeper than that.
It's about understanding the fundamental principles of how money works, how it flows, recognizing the difference between assets and liabilities in your own life, and then critically having the courage and the knowledge to apply those principles.
It's like needing to change your internal financial programming, rewire how you think about money.
It's really a call to action, isn't it? A call to move beyond just being financially dependent on a job or an employer.
To be truly financially free, Kiyosaki argues, you have to break that cycle. You can't just rely on a salary.
You have to actively take control of your own financial learning, your own financial decisions. Stop passively accepting advice or systems that might actually be keeping you trapped. It's about becoming your own financial strategist.
And the core strategy, the message hammered home again and again in the book, is build assets. Make your money work for you. Don't just work for money.
That's the central idea that he claims separates the financially struggling from the financially free. It's a complete reversal of the traditional mindset, a paradigm shift from being primarily a worker for money.
To becoming an owner of money-generating systems.
And what's really compelling is how clearly the book draws that line. It basically boils down to, how are you choosing to educate yourself about money? And crucially, are you acting on that knowledge?
Financial education isn't presented as like a nice to have or a luxury.
No, it's framed as the absolute key. the key to unlocking real financial freedom, giving you control over your financial destiny, the ability to design the life you actually want, rather than just the life your paycheck dictates. Hashtag, tag, outro.
So we've taken quite a deep dive today into Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh.
We've explored that stark contrast between the two dads' philosophies. We've unpacked why distinguishing assets from liabilities is so fundamental.
The core
The
definitions.
incredible power of investing and making your money work for you, not the other way around. And that call to mind your own business, to build something for yourself.
We also touched on overcoming that fear factor, the importance of taking smart risks, and viewing failures as learning opportunities.
And finally, that idea of working to learn valuable skills, not just to earn a paycheck, building your own human capital.
At its heart, the book is really a powerful case for continuous financial education and for making that fundamental mindset shift from working for money to having your money work for you.
It's about seeing beyond the next paycheck, isn't it? Towards the longer-term goal of financial independence, financial liberation.
It's definitely a journey, one that starts with awareness, requires intentional action, and ultimately aims to redefine your entire relationship with money and wealth.
Absolutely. So as you go about your week, maybe consider this. What's one small asset, just one that you could begin to build or acquire, starting today or this week?
A concrete first step.
Yeah. And how might taking that one step, even if it feels tiny right now, start to change the trajectory of your financial future? Try looking at your own situation through that asset versus liability lens we talked about.
Just identify one opportunity, maybe, to start making your money work for you, even in a small way.
That simple shift in perspective, that one conscious choice to plant even a small financial seed, that could be the most powerful investment you ever make.